Hi, everyone, and welcome to Indulge podcast with a very fresh guest this time. He's a budding, I won't say budding, he's already recognized. He's a huge filmmaker now internationally, if we can say so. Maisam Ali. His debut film, In Retreat, has already been showcased in the sidebar section of Cannes this year, and it is all set to debut in the Asian section of the Busan International Film Festival, which is going to start from the 2nd of October. A huge congratulations to you, Maisam, on your spectacular debut.
Thank you, Sharmishta.
Uh, Maisam, tell us, you have been born, you have an interesting, a story of yours. You are
Yes.
born in Iran, and you have been raised, and you are living in Ladakh, if I'm not wrong. And your first movie, your debut movie, is beautifully, it brings out the landscape of Ladakh and the way of life that we get to see through the eyes of somebody who had abandoned Ladakh or had left Ladakh long back and is coming back to home. It's kind of homecoming, coming back to home, which is probably no longer his home. So it's a
Mm.
beautifully poignant story. If you could tell us about your backstory before we go to your filmmaking debut, and if you could tell us, like, you were very colorful upbringing and life, and you studied engineering and then you moved to FTII. If you could tell us about yourself.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you so much for that introduction of the film. So, y- in a sense, I think, how I feel about myself, about my identity, is a lot reflected in the film as well, because I'm the kind of person who likes to do personal films, value personal films. So, my father went to Iran. I think in 80s there was this trend. Still now, people move go to Middle East. He's a physician, so because I think the job opportunity was a bit better over there, so he went there. Uh, so I was born there. So I was there for 7, 8 years, and then I came to. We came back to our hometown Ladakh, and then again for studies and everything, I moved to other places, Delhi, Pune, Bombay. So even later on, like how in retrospect you kind of narrativize your own sort of life, no? Later on, I understood, like, even my great grandfathers, they were sort of traders, the pre-independence time I'm talking about. So they were traders between different parts. They were traders between uh, now China, but earlier parts of Central Asia, and then in various parts of India, they used to, they were traders. So that story is also very fascinating to me. I feel like, maybe that kind of a nomadic life, I'm fascinated towards that. So, and because of this kind of uh, life which I've had, or this kind of movements, somehow I feel, this particular film which I've done has a lot also from myself.
So, might you tell us this particular film? Uh, this really goes through the journey of the person and traces the landscape of Ladakh it's like a parallel world running, and it
Right.
shows how there's a line in this film that what happens inside the houses or the homes, and what the homes look from outside are completely different. They have their own
Yeah.
stories and everything. So, if you could tell us what was the idea behind making this film.
A lot of things actually towards making this film, one, I've always been from childhood. I have a very, I don't have a clear relationship with house, with a home. I always feel like a home is a place, a home also divides, I feel. A home also has boundaries. And And then again, like various sort of events and incidents inspired me to make this film. Like this particular story of this person who has come back to home. This is something I witnessed when I was very young. Not very young. I think I might have been in class sixth or seventh, and I got to know about such a such person. You know, about a neighbor who has come back here, and mm, I just felt a strange sadness for him. You know, I thought maybe he's not welcome there, and he was just trying to do small talks with random strangers, saying, you know, that my grandfather and your grandfather has uh, they he had a shop here, and your grandfather used to live here. I mean, he was making this conversation, and it feels like he doesn't know them, but he was just trying to make some kind of
It and
connection.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The whole film explores that, connecting with people, connecting to your roots, but very helplessly. I mean, you feel the sad
Mhm.
tinge when you watch this film that he's so much a stranger in his own homeland. So tell us, my son, while making this film, this is a completely indie cinema. What we mean by indie cinema. And that's why it got screened in the sidebar section of the Khan in the first place. If you could tell us what were the challenges that you faced as an independent filmmaker, because filmmaking is an industrial job. I mean, it requires a huge technician power and manpower and everything. So how difficult or how challenging was it for you to come up with this film?
It was yeah, it was very difficult because, but you know, sometimes when you don't have anything, and you know, you are like you are like, I want to do this and I don't have anything else. So that kind of helps, no, that kind of situation sometimes. So I just have been lucky, I guess, because as you said, it's an industrial uh, practice, and you need a lot of resources, funds, and everything, and to put all these together. And it was kind of difficult, but it is eventually it was fruitful, but it was very difficult. It's true.
The protagonist is Harish Khanna, the very talented Harish Khanna in your film. He plays the protagonist, and he has really brought in that uh, kind of depth that's required for playing the part of somebody like this without speaking much, or keeping the silence very intact and everything. Was he your first choice?
I mean, in the sense, I was looking at various, not various actors. I was looking at couple of actors, and soon I sort of kind of zeroed on him because I just like the way he was, you know, the way his reactions was, and when I spoke to him, I could uh, understand that he will sort of be, you know, his rhythm will be nice within the realm of the film, within the overall movement of the film, and it turned out to be a good decision. Yeah.
How was it working with him? How is he as an actor, and how was it? Is he a director's actor, or does he bring his own inputs into the whole thing? How was it?
So I think I think whenever, like, I like to work with actors who are sort of have some understanding of cinema, or you know, they are cinema friendly in the sense they understand that cinema is a very, very subtle art form. It's more than showing or dramatizing. It's more about not revealing, or you know, trying to bring the audience. So that kind of depth is there, of course, with Harish sir. He's a really, I mean, in that sense, his presence is a really great presence on the screen. And the way, as I told you before, also how he reacts to various things, how he looks at. So he's definitely a director's actor, and I think, you know, like, he can do much greater roles, I'm hopeful in the future. Yeah.
Tell us, my son, as a first-time director, what were your learnings while filming this in retreat?
Yeah, the whole thing is a learning only. Yeah, I mean, everything in the sense, like, the usual things, like you say that, you know, you have to uh, you know, give more emphasis on the script, and you need more time to prepare, and all these kind of things. I've learned, of course, which we were told before also to give to sort of put emphasis on sound. Like we all say sound is important, but when it comes to actual shooting, we don't give importance to sound. Well, all these things we know, but on the shoot we forget these things. Uh, yeah, and of course, time is. I also realized that you can't when you're making a film in the outside world, in the commercial world. So time is very important to manage time. You can't overshoot and things like that. And to be able to see the entire structure, you know.
In how many days did you manage to shoot the entire film?
It was around 35 to 40 days, but it was divided into two schedules. One was the majority schedule, and it was shot in the month of October, November.
And the entire film just shows one particular night, and that took
Yes, yes,
35 days. I mean, it's such a
yeah.
meticulous and hard work you've put in. And tell us, Maisam, what was your idea behind also projecting Ladakh's life, Ladakh's underbelly, Ladakh's intricate nuances, which never gets caught in the unsuspecting eyes of a traveler or a foreigner. You've very cleverly and intelligently managed to bring that Ladakhi flavor into your film without going into the personal lives really, but showing everything, in a very subtle manner. Was it very intentional? I mean, did you also want to run a parallel story of Ladakhi life? That we often think that
Uh,
Ladakh is all about peace and
uh,
serenity, but that there's an underbelly, uh, that there's problems, that there are
uh,
problems. Was it intentional on your part as a filmmaker to project that also?
yeah, sort of, you sometimes you not, I mean, you get sort of when you're from a place like Ladakh, it's a touristic place, no? So as an artist you feel sort of rebellious and you say that you don't want to show those pretty images or those cliches what one would associate with one place. No place is like that. We all know, like, all places have problems, or yeah, everything is there in every place. I mean, every place is like any other place. So, and as you rightly pointed out, like you mentioned the word underbelly. So I thought for a character like him, for a peculiar character situation this character was, these kind of events or these kind of strange things can happen. Sometimes somebody who is living in the society itself might not know what is happening in the night, in that place. So, and then when you are making a personal film, all these things, I think it happens, things are, my intention is to do something original and authentic. And, in that, I guess one is able to do these things and very, very personal, as I mentioned before.
Yes, yes. So personally speaking, what are the kind of films that you love watching? And as a filmmaker, who are the filmmakers you are influenced by?
Yeah, because I studied at the FTI, so we used to watch a lot of films, and more and more it gets difficult to tell who are your favorite filmmakers and what are your favorite films. But of course, there are certain very landmark filmmakers which sort of, gives you an like, for example, Ozu. I have mentioned before also. It's like uh, a filmmaker which has influenced generations of Asian filmmakers, at least all over the world, but Asians, of course. Uh, Somebody like him is like, really strong, the way his vision and the kind of films he was making, where there is no villain uh, in a film, or like a grand story, but just the way life it is. And those kind of filmmakers and their philosophy, like Kiarostami, also Iranian filmmakers, or a lot of French filmmakers, Bresson, people who are able to give some kind of an experience to you while you watch a film, a temporal experience or things like that. These filmmakers have definitely sort of given me a sort of foundation, I think, to do what the kind of cinema I want to do.
You started off as an independent filmmaker, but do you intend to remain independent, or do you want to also try mainstream cinema? Is it a pathway to the greater path of mainstream cinema and OTT, the huge, wide,
Yeah.
wild world of OTT? What's your plan?
Well, I mean, too soon for now, but still one hopes, I mean, one dreams and one hopes that, one can maybe make more better films in the future and make more universal. One matures enough and one can make more universal and more accessible films. And I mean, I'm also somebody, because I know a little bit about film history also. I like earlier American cinema also, like these are all really good films. There are really good examples of films which are also popular and but really good at the same time. Something like that, if happens, is a dream, of course. But to do one's own film, the next film, I think it's a priority.
What are you planning about your next film? Are you already on the works?
Not really so much, but just developing very early stages of development and something on the similar lines only. But yeah,
Similar
just
lines?
trying to, yeah, a little bit on the similar lines, yes.
Will it be around Ladakh, or are you going to explore any other landscape?
It will be around this place, not necessarily this place, but I mean nearby places from Ladakh, because I'm more sort of somehow I feel I'm more connected to the landscape. This landscape is so powerful. Somebody who's born here, although my film is about somebody who's not able to be here, who can't belong here. It's I think it's a story, a small town story, which a lot of people relate to. But on the contrary, also the paradox is that the landscape is so powerful that for me the meaning happens in this landscape, in these images, though very different.
Right, right. Do you ever feel like telling a Ladakhi story in a mainstream platform? Do you ever?
Mm, like honestly, I feel like I feel to do a story which would be about this place, but mm, which would be an universal story, in the sense like the place becomes its place is very important, but at the same time place becomes secondary and the other things become more universal if something like that happens, because that's what I feel.
How excited are you about the Busan Asian premiere of the film? This is only a
Yeah.
week away, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a great sort of great news for our team, and we're really happy to have our Asian premiere there. Busan is a very prestigious festival in Asia, like one of the biggest festival in Asia. So yeah, they've been really kind. The programmers, they have liked the film and they want to show it there. So it's really great for us. Helps us.
What inspires you as a filmmaker? Where do you find your inspiration from, apart from your eternal love for hills and the people of the hills? What else inspires you?
Yeah, that's very like we all are trying to find inspirations in life, But I think life itself, one, I mean, try to find beauty in simple things. I mean, cliche it may sound, but I think that is more sort of what I look forward to or try to, like I think life itself is very beautiful in the sense like there is this famous filmmaker, Russian filmmaker, Andrei Tarkovsky. Somebody asked him why people go to watch films, and he said, "In search of lost times." So that kind of a feeling of life is so much more and so much plural, and there is so much more in life. I feel that one can find inspiration from there. I'm trying to find inspiration from life itself.
How difficult is it to sustain as an independent filmmaker? How difficult is the survival?
Oh, it's very difficult. So yeah, it's difficult. I think to each his own in the sense like people do gigs and commercial projects also, and they can assist a big director or things like that, do advertising. There's teaching also. but it's tough in the sense like because like even if I make this independent film, I don't know. I really don't know how many people from the industry would be able to, would first of all, engage with this film or even sit through with this film, and then understand what I'm trying to do. Or they might say, this is too, what is this? This is poetic or philosophical or profound. Yeah, we don't want this. I don't know. I mean, uh, so it is difficult. I'm still sort of, I'm, I don't have an answer. Like I'm a work in progress.
The film has already showcased in Cannes. It's going to be premiering at Busan. But do you think it will be very difficult for it to find a space in the OTT for the greater audience to watch it?
We are trying. We are trying to. Of course, we would want the film to. We would definitely screen the films in couple of festivals, hopefully in India. That way, we'll be able to showcase the film to our, of course, Indian audience at our home. And we are also trying to take it to OTTs if they can take it. That would be lovely. But it is difficult because they are like they are more interested in uh, stories which are more popular and more sort of those kind of stories which are more plot driven.
Point too, because the initial purpose with which OTTs were,
Yeah.
established, the purpose is no longer serving you guys. Does it disappoint somewhere?
Yeah, the purpose is lost. But at this moment, I'm not so cynical. I feel there might be new avenues opening, and you don't know what the future holds. And I feel there could be something. We might find a home somewhere in India. I'm hopeful at this moment. We'll see. Uh,
So, Maisam, who are the actors whom you would like to work with in the future? Are there any actors? Uh, Definitely, directors choose actors according to the scripts, but the scripts choose the actors, not the other way
yeah.
around. But still, I would like to know because we all grew up around cinema. So, are there any actors whom you really wish to work with in future?
I mean, actors. I mean. Like Irfan, like in your silly sort of as a child, I mean, silly child, kiddish kind of dream, you would think like, well, this is somebody you can, it would be nice to if one can find an opportunity to work with because he was such a powerful, he was really a cinema actor, no, in that. And but I'm not so focused right now on thinking about actors because like the big actors, they seem to work in a very different conditions. They seem to have like I would like to work with people who want to collaborate and who can, who want to really collaborate and be part of something. In that sense, uh, I'm okay with not like other kind of character actors. Even like I even cast like to work with non-actors also because they give in my film also there are a lot of non-actors in the film apart from Hari sir. So it's nice to work with them also.
Actors, is it difficult to guide non-actors?
Non-actors is a big risk. Sometimes it can work miracles and sometimes it can utterly fail. Everybody knows that. So yeah, I mean, the child in my film, he's my relative. He's like a cousin of mine, and he was such a natural. So sometimes it works greatly, but sometimes it can, your entire schedule or entire shoot can, matlab, the whole day can get wasted if you don't get, I mean, if it doesn't work out.
Right, right. So, Maisam, before we end, my last question, your upcoming projects, and if you could tell a little about that film that you're concentrating right now, if you could give us a little more.
Not really developed at this stage, but definitely a travel. You could also sense in my in retreat also that it has a travel quality to it. Definitely something similar, and in a sort of a travel kind of a film with more poetry, I guess, with and sort of uh, around and maybe not in the night though, but in the day this time. Yeah, this much information I have.
Last question before we, end this podcast is, Any regional film industry, the content that really entices you right now in India, and which is the last content that you watched that really impressed you?
Uh, Not really. I've been up to date with regional cinema right now, but recently I've started seeing Hang Sang-soo, the Korean. Um, like I'm really sort of catching. I'm kind of late and I'm catching up on Hang Sang-soo, and it's really fascinating how he makes so many films so fast, and it's very interesting. So I'm just trying. I'm looking at his films these days.
Thank you so much, Masam. It was a pleasure talking to you. Wish you all the best with your film at Busan. Bye from our side.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was lovely talking to you.